Hey guys, welcome to Cinema Wali Bate, the talks about cinema with me, Cinephile Sanket. So for today's episode, I have invited a very special guest. So her name is Shikha Jain. So Shikha is actually the founder and curator of the Red Sparrow, which is an online film forum. So Red Sparrow actually curates film reviews and film recommendations and also film podcasts. So Shikha in this episode will be talking about films in general and her journey in founding and curating the Red Sparrow, and also her journey in producing films. So do check it out. So hi Shika, welcome to Cinema Wali Bate, the talks about cinema. Like first, I wanted to ask you which TV show or a movie have you been watching recently?
First of all, thank you so much for inviting me. It's all my pleasure to be here, and thank you for inviting me to your channel to talk about cinema and other stuff. To answer your question, what I've been watching recently, actually, I've not watched a lot of content recently, contrary to other people who are, pretty much watching a lot because they've been at home. But because we've been at home, the work has kind of, uh, increased a lot. So that's why I've not gotten a lot of time to watch anything. But off my head, I obviously watched WandaVision. I'm a huge Marvel fan. So I had to watch it. I couldn't miss it. I watched WandaVision. I absolutely loved it. I know people have problems with it here and there, and things that it tried to do too many things and all. But I personally really liked it. It was very unexpected, so I quite liked what they were trying to do there. Then I saw this show on Netflix called Ginny and Georgia. It's about this mother-daughter duo like Gilmore Girls, but not Gilmore Girls. It's very twisted and dark in weird ways, and it's just really weird. Like it has that sense of comedy where two women are trying to find their own lives, and it's a mother-daughter duo, and they're both like Gilmore Girls vibe. But at the same time, every episode you see that, oh my god, it's not actually that, it's just something way weird and super weird and dark. So that was fun. I quite liked it. I quite like the way it is done, and I'm actually looking forward to the second season whenever it comes. These two are at the top of my head. Other than that, I watched Drishyam 2, which is actually not a Hindi movie, but do watch it. If you've seen Drishyam 1, do watch it. It's a great film, and if you can manage watching it with subtitles, it's an amazing film. So you can totally watch it, or wait for the Hindi version of it. I'm sure they will adapt into a Hindi version after Drishyam 1. Drishyam. So that is a great film. I care a lot. Then here and there, I saw Girl on the Train and all these things, which are pretty much everyone. But these are on top of my head that I really enjoyed watching.
Well, you told just now like you weren't watching now, but so what were the films you discovered during the lockdown, like the proper lockdown, which actually happened just like quite about a month, about a year ago? So what films did you discover then?
I watched Portrait of a Lady on Fire. It's not something I discovered. Obviously, everyone was talking about it, but I got a chance to watch it, which I wouldn't otherwise if the lockdown wasn't there. And I absolutely love the film. Like it's so beautiful in so many ways. It's just brilliant how people can tell stories. It amazes me. Then I discovered I watched this film, The Diary of a Teenage Girl. If I'm not wrong, I hope I'm saying it right. It's I think a 2017 movie. and it's a drama of a teenage girl trying to find her sexuality and exploring those parts. And it doesn't sound, I know every time I talk about this film, people are the first reaction that goes is, oh, is it a rom-com or is it something like that, it's like Love Actually or something, because the name is pretty much that. But it's actually not that, it's the complete opposite of it. And I was just really surprised by what it was. So that I discovered in the lockdown. Then actually it's been quite a while, it's been a year or two things I've watched, so I'm just kind of trying to place. But clearly, if I'm talking about these two, even now they've left the most impact on me, and I've really enjoyed them. And what else did I discover? I completed Big Bang Theory during the lockdown. I never completed it. I just did not, never got around it. So I completed that. And I remember The Crown came out. The last season of Crown came out during the lockdown, and I binged watched it. It's one of my most favorite shows. Like it's so good. Like I scream every time Crown ka this thing happens. Crown ka announcement happens. I'm just like, oh my god, I can't wait. Then I remember watching that during the lockdown. Yeah, I completed a few shows here and there which are like old, but then you never got around them. You never get a chance to, kind of watch them. So I completed those, but other than that, I think these were my discoveries, if you may call them that.
But have you watched any classic films like to say
I did
like
watch. I did watch Tezab and Teesri Manzil.
oh okay okay.
Yeah, I watched, and I just, I mean, obviously they're problematic films. There are a lot of problems, but I mean, making those films in that era and time and saying those stories the way they did were like just incredible. So I did watch Tezab and Teesri Manzil, which are classics, at least according to me, and I am sure everyone would agree they are classics because, of course.
But
Uh,
anything like before the 70s, like any film which like before 70s?
I don't think so. I think the furthest I've gone is till the 80s.
Oh,
Not even 80s.
you actually,
80s, I think.
but
Early.
you actually have a lot to catch up. So I think you should watch all those, The Godfather, The Raging Bull, and all those like great stuff. I think you should watch it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not able to catch up with what's releasing now. I'm sure I'll find time to catch up with that's gone by so many years ago. I'm sure I'll find time to watch them. But before that, I'm not finding time to, catch up with what's releasing now only. So I need to first complete that syllabus. It's like literally completing syllabus after syllabus. So yeah, but I'll definitely watch them, and when I watch them, I'll come and tell you.
But you are actually so like coming to so you are actually the founder of the Red Sparrow. So tell me what was the journey uh, like to start Red Sparrow?
So it is actually a very unconventional journey that happened. I will obviously not tell you the entire story because it's just too long, but I'll tell you the gist of it. I remember I wanted to be a filmmaker since forever, like as far as I can remember, right? But I never got a chance to go to a film school, or I never got a chance to work on a film set and all of that. And while I was still like, I did my finance and I did my brand management, and then I was working on a brand manager as a brand manager for a brief period and all that. During that, I realized I was talking, of course, on the side I was still trying to figure how to get into films and talking to various people and all of that. while I was talking to various people, I realized who work in the industry firsthand, I realized that there are so many conversations that are inside. Like there are so many stories that are inside and that are within these people, but they're not out there. They're not like, I'm sure there are so many people like me outside who don't get a chance to go to film school or work on a film set, but do want to learn more about the medium, right? Do want to know more about the medium. And how do they do that? Not everyone has the opportunity to go and talk to people. So my idea basically was that these conversations need to get out, these conversations need to come to the fore, and people need to know more about this, and this gap should be bridged. That is the philosophy of the Red Sparrow, where we are trying to bridge that gap of people who are on the outside, who are trying to gain more knowledge and more information about the medium, and people who are on the inside, who have the knowledge and the and the what do you call it, information,
Skill.
but are not able to translate it to those people because they're out there. So this is what we're trying to do with Red Sparrow. This is what we're trying to bridge with the Red Sparrow, where we try to make the two meet and make an exchange happen. So that is how Red Sparrow came into being, with this thought and with this foundation. And yeah, we're trying to do that.
Yeah, and actually, it's great. Like, I actually admire your reviews. All like, I know my friend actually works for Red Sparrow. Like Just Shah,
Yeah.
he's my classmate, and even Shobit is also like working with you on Sparrow, and like so. Actually, I admire, and even the balcony ticket. I think you recently like started curating like the interviews stuff. So I actually admire that, and I actually follow them like and also watch them regularly, and
Thank you so
it's
much.
actually pretty great.
Thank you.
Yeah. So actually, like on the Red Sparrow's website, actually, I got to know that Ishika Motwane. So she is actually also quite involved in your company. So like, what role does she play in this?
He's actually on the board of advisors for the Red Sparrow. So, what we do is from time to time, like you said, you're right, she's also quite involved in the company. So, time to time, when we're trying to, do something new or trying to figure how to do something better, how to do something, we come together, we brainstorm, we figure out what are the ways of doing it, what is the best way of achieving something, basically. And also an insight into the medium, right? Because she's closely associated to the medium, since she's a still photographer. She goes and shoots those stills that we see on the movies. So also an insight into the medium, also kind of how things work, how things happen. uh, so she advises us on all those aspects, and like, thanks to her, that like she contributes so much that um I mean, yeah, she's as much as a part of company as any of us are. So that is the role that she does. Every time we're trying to do something, every time we're trying to go enter a new thing, we come together, we brainstorm, and we figure what can be done, what should we do, etc., etc. And that's how she advises us on how to kind of maneuver with the uh,
Yeah. So you told me just like now that you are and like you yourself are an aspiring filmmaker. So like have you been planning recently about like making a film like?
So apart from Red Sparrow, in the last 2 years, I also produced a short film that it's called Bin Bulai, and it's now on Hotstar. And when I say filmmaker, I look at myself as a producer who is, enabling and making more films, and enabling more stories and storytellers, and That is how I look at filmmaking. I don't know if I want to direct or write or any of that yet. I don't know. But yeah, production is something that completely, catches my eye all the time, and that's what I would like to do for sure. So that is something I want to continue and do. And yeah, we made a film, small little film. It's a short film. It's on Hotstar, Bin Bulai. You guys can watch it. And yeah, so that's
Sure.
a little step that we've taken towards the filmmaking journey. And
But I also I'm actually very curious that I know on a film set what a director does, what a cinematographer does, what an actor does, but I can't figure it out what a producer does. And I don't know what's their job on set. Like can you expand a producer's role on a film set? Or obviously not just on a film set, also like what happens before and after in the film after the shoot, sorry.
so basically, I would say that obviously a producer also works on the set, but most of the producers' work is before the shoot even starts to make sure that the shoot is smooth sailing and there is no problem happening in the shoot. So you basically the producer figures everything that needs to happen on floor of the on shoot. In one line, if I have to define a producer's job, it's to make everyone else's life easy on the set, basically.
Oh.
You need to figure everything out before the shoot even starts. Obviously, when the shoot is on and you're on floor, you are 100% hands on there, because you can't really predict everything, right? Anything can, there are like 100 variable factors that can happen, so you're obviously there. But a good producer is a one who anticipates most of it and tries to figure that nothing should go wrong. Everyone on my set should be happy with what they're doing and what's happening. It's basically that, making everyone else's life easy, if I have to say it in one word, in one line. If you have to look at it from actually what you do, you identify a story, you identify the people you want to work with on it, you identify who's going to do what on the film, you do budgeting, you do finances, you take care of people. I mean, I don't know how to define a producer's job, honestly. It's just making things happen, basically. It's making a project happen. It's getting everyone together and making it, like, putting life in a project. It's like there's a statue, but then how do you put life into it, right? So yeah, you
Wow.
basically do that.
But can you tell me some stories, what was your greatest day, if I may ask, on a film set, as a producer, obviously.
Honestly, I've not, I've only produced one short film yet, so I really wouldn't, it wouldn't be fair to answer that question, because we only shot for 3 days, that's it, and we were in pre-production for about a month and a half. So we were done in 2 months, and we only shot for 3 days out of that. So, I mean, if I have to say greatest day on a film set, I think all those 3 days were greatest days on a film set for me, because it's my first film, and it's a passion project. You're trying to do things in limited resources and all of that. So trying to achieve what you want to achieve with that kind of given resources and that kind of given things, I don't know. I mean, if I have to pick one, I can't pick one day. It's like the entire 2 months from the beginning to end was like, so it's so precious. I can't pick a day. It would be very unfair.
It's okay. Like I understand. Like I know I haven't worked on a film set obviously, but like in my BMM days and my like college days, we have made some films and also documentaries. I know like it's quite stressed, but like it's pretty much fun making a movie. Like I don't think like it would be like unfair to like pick which was the best. Obviously, that's why. But as you said that you are actually in the business, like we would call it as a business, obviously. But so like when you watch a film. Like how do you watch a film like how do you observe a film and like what all boxes actually should a film like get checked to get your like praise uh actually it's like for me I would say a good film, or for me a greatest film obviously will be which has good visuals, good directing, good cinematography, good acting, and most of all a good story. So what all things do you uh, like yeah do you need in a movie?
So honestly, I feel as a viewer or even as a person who is in film appreciation, um, I feel a good film, a mark of a good film is when the film is meeting its purpose, right? Every film has a purpose for which it's being made. I mean, you can also make a great golmaal if you know what you're making it for. You're making it to make your audience laugh, and that's your, that's what you're trying to do. You make a great masan when you know you're clear that you want to tell the story in its truest form, and or you're making an udan, or you know what, why you're making it. You're making it to tell the story in its truest form. As compared to when a Karan Johar makes a film, I am completely enjoying it because he knows why he is making that film, because he wants to make you sing. What is that Kareena Kapoor song?
It's like
With
there
that,
are plenty,
that
but
Hrithik Roshan comes to the university in Kabhi Khushi Kabhi Gum. Completely lost.
uh,
But
I think it is the
oh yeah, yeah, yeah. You can cut this part, but
no, it's just unfiltered.
but the point being, I mean, you can't stop but believe in that world, right? I mean, you look at it and you're like, this doesn't happen in real life. But not everything you watch on screen has to happen in real life. It's for most people, it's a way where they go to just have fun and to maybe look at something great and feel great about, and not always feel bad about things happening. I mean, what I'm trying to say is that every movie is made with a purpose, and I feel a great movie is a movie that is sticking to that purpose and being true to that purpose. When you do that, you automatically make a great film. What doesn't work for me is when you're trying to make a masala film, but then you also want to kind of check into some. I mean, I don't know. Just
Those
basically,
kind of indie things
sorry.
those kind of indie things like what the
That
indie
like
films have.
now we have a genre called intelligent commercial cinema. Like we do have that. How much ever we want to deny it, we do have movies like Badhai Ho, Shubh Mangal Savdhan, Shubh Mangal Zyada Savdhan. We have these movies where all these commercial actors and like mainstream actors are coming and actually talking about things that matter. But again, see, what you're trying to do there. You're trying to avail to a wider audience and also try to say a message at the same time, so why you're making that movie. But you can't just be like, "Ki, अब मुझे कमर्शियल पूरा भी बनाना है पर मुझे मैसेज भी देना है. Pick what you want to do. You can do both, but then know how, you know that okay, you're trying to, give a message out there.
I
I
know.
might sound like a noob right now, but for me, a good film is that is true to its purpose and it's solving, like it knows what it is trying to achieve, and when you do that, it's a good film for me. I mean, I'm sold at that. Then obviously technical factors come later, where you look at how the cinematography is, how the performances are, how the background score is, how the music is, how direction is, and you know all that comes in later. All that comes in when you're watching a film, and what is your experience of watching the film. Did you enjoy watching the film? Did you connect with it? Did you feel what the characters were feeling on screen? So those are the things that come later, but for me a good mark of a film would totally be um, it not trying to be something it is not.
Okay, yeah, yeah. Actually, I wanted to like conclude this like conversation with just last one last like question. So, can you tell me which films are you like? Will you be watching like in your upcoming days, if you may say?
Oh, I don't know if anything new is releasing anytime soon, because I feel like I've exhausted everything, like what has come out recently. I think I've exhausted it. I do want to watch Ruhi, but I'm really still scared of going to the theater yet.
Oh,
So I'm very conflicted on if I will go to the theater or not, but I do want to watch it. And I have a few movies in my watch list that I've still not watched. So I want to complete those as well. I will have to remove my watch list to tell you what are these movies. But off of my head, are I haven't seen the Silence of the Lambs. Silence of the Lambs. I don't think there's a the Silence of the Lambs. I haven't seen. I haven't seen. Uh, I haven't seen. Wait, let me think. You can cut this out. I'll see it again. Mm.
no, but actually, I also haven't seen Silence of the Lambs. Like, I actually was waiting for to read the novel first, but like, I was thinking like, nah, like just like watch the film only because I think it's so great. People are saying it. It's like some people are saying it's a horror film, and some people are saying no, it's a plain thriller film. It's okay, but I haven't watched anything. I haven't watched any trailer of it, and I haven't watched anything about it. So like I haven't read anything about it. So like I'll just like grab the experience. Like I hope so it feels good. Yeah, that's so like do you are you getting like any film?
I am actually still thinking what I want to watch, because pretty much what happens is whenever I get some time to watch something, I just pick something off the bat and just start watching it. Like for example, if I have a late night or something and I have a few hours, or I think I can watch a movie, I just click on something random and see what's coming up and just start watching it. I don't have like I don't sit with a this thing ki ab ye aaj ye dekhenge kal ye dekhenge. I don't do that, because I like going with how I'm feeling in the moment. But still, if I have to watch a few movies, this is definitely one I have to watch it. I am a little averse to watching it because I know what it is about, and I know it's a psychological horror, and it's about violence against women and all. So I'm a little averse to watching it because it's just disturbing. But
Which one? Which one?
Silence of the Lambs.
Okay. Like, okay.
Yeah, so I'm
Okay.
not
So,
sure
like,
about this, but I'm just like
if
it's
you're like, if you're not able to think, it's okay. Like, it happens. Like, it happens to me as well. Like, I'm not able to think like which films to watch next.
yeah.
Yeah.
I still have to. I think I've still not seen. I have not seen Argo, which is Ben Affleck's Argo. I have still not seen it, which I know is a very famous film. And why haven't you seen it? I always get that, but I haven't seen it. So I will probably be watching that as well. Then there are a few very old films that I want to watch, like Hindi old cinema. Like a lot of Ray I want to watch, Satyajit Ray, which is I still haven't watched everything. I obviously have seen a few films, but I still haven't seen everything that's done by him. So I kind of want to complete that. And there is this film by Mrinal Sen. Is it Mrinal Sen?
Yeah. Bren Olsen. Yeah.
What is that film that is has just come out on movie?
Uh, it's is it a Hindi movie or a Bengali
No,
movie?
it's a Hindi movie. There is this
Uh,
that is just
Shabana Azmi, which stars Shabana Azmi.
yeah.
एक दिन अचानक. एक दिन अचानक.
हाँ, एक दिन अचानक, and then there's one more Shabana Azmi film in which she's wearing this white sari. I can't remember the names. That's why I keep noting them down. But yeah, these are a few films that I have on my watch list. I don't know when I will watch them because I just can't figure a timeline. But yeah, these are a few films I would watch next.
So, Shikha, thank you so much for like coming to like having this conversation with me and coming to my podcast.
Thank you.
Like it's yeah, it's been such a pleasure talking to you like about cinema and your love to the cinema.
Thank you. It's great. Yeah, it's amazing to talk to people who want to know more and who are genuinely excited and interested in what people have to say, and especially when you talk to more people, the more perspectives you get to know. So I love talking to people about cinema. Like I think every time I meet a new person or even my old friends, I think 50% of our time is just talking about how you saw this film, what did you think about this, etc., etc. It's just fun. So it's always fun talking cinema. I can just go on and on.
Exactly. I got a new perspective about like watching a Dharma film. Like I haven't heard in like anyone who is like enjoying a Dharma film, but like I actually heard.
Proudly, openly say I love Dharma films because there's just so much fun. Like every time I watch a Dharma film, I want to forget all my stresses in life. I'm just like, it's so much fun. The world is great. What's there to worry about? It's just everyone's happy. I am happy. I
But
love
like I don't know, but I don't know. Like I actually watch kind of more realist and realism films. Like and I like imagine like why aren't Bollywood making these kind of films? So like I imagine that, but like obviously I
But
got the
if everyone
perspective.
is making the same kind of films, then who will make happy films? Please tell me. Who will make a ये कौन है जिसने मुड़ के मुझे नहीं देखा है? If everyone's making a, who will do this? No. Who will go and where will Ranveer Singh go and do that Simba wala, jump and the goggle and all? Where will he go and do? Who? How will you whistle when you're watching something like that on a screen? Like you're not going to whistle when you watch a again any
New realism, Cold War. I think like the first film I actually got came up to my mind was Cold War. The 2018 Paweł Pawlikowski's film. Like it's a Polish movie. I think it's actually so the experience of it. I actually still remembers it because it was like I watched it in Regal Cinemas in during Mami, and the theater was just silent. Like no one was uttering anything. It was like it was just brilliant, and like it was so fucking good. So like no, I don't know.
Kind of movie that demands your full attention and that makes you want to watch and be fully immersed, and you know you don't even want to eat popcorn when you're watching that movie because you're paying attention. You're just like, like you can't move because you will miss something, and you don't want to do that because it's beautiful. matlab, exactly what I was trying to say earlier. If we are only doing that, how will we sit and whistle and eat popcorn and laugh and be like, oh my god, this is hilarious, it will never happen to me, like it's just so funny. Like, I mean everything has its own importance and place in its, in its form. And especially in the visual medium, you just there is no limit. Yeah, you can do whatever you want, and everyone should have the freedom. I genuinely believe everyone should have the freedom at for to do whatever they want to do, as long as it's not extreme, it's not problematic. See, again, this is the fine line that you need to understand when you're a medium that can influence hundreds and thousands of people at once. It's a medium that so many people are going to watch and believe it's, this is how life is. That is where you draw the thin line. Like, for example, when you talk about commercial cinema, mainstream cinema, and you say कि तुम कुछ भी बोल के कुछ भी बना सकते हो, but that's also not true. You can't make a Kabir Singh and be like कि अरे I want to tell this story. I mean, you need to understand also what you're trying to do, right? You can make a very frivolous, pretentious movie. It's fine. It's your calling. It's your thing. Please go ahead and do it, and I will go to the theater and watch it and enjoy it and have fun also. I will do that. But you, as a storyteller or as a filmmaker, you need to understand what you're trying to say or what you're trying to do or what is the kind of audience that you're going to influence. You need to understand kind of all of that, and then make your film. That's all. But like I said, I say it very proudly, I watch all masala films, I watch all commercial Bollywood, and I'm one of, like, their loyal audiences who will go to the theaters and go and watch and dance and sing and whistle, and at the same time I'll watch. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I just believe in harmony, I guess. I do.
Yeah, actually. So thank you so much. Finally, like we have to end this conversation.
Thank you. Hope I
Yeah,
made some sense.
yeah, sure. So goodbye.
Thank you. Take care, and I'll see you soon.
Yeah.
Bye.